So may I please request all of you to be all set as we present to you our panelists right here on stage. A round of applause as I extend a very warm welcome to Mr. Anirudh Jain, Advisor, DMRC. Please put your hands together for Mr. H.K. Raghu, Senior Professor, Rolling Stock and Indian Railways Institute of Transport Management. May I please extend a very warm welcome to Mr. Satish Kumar, former Director, DMRC and Advisor, Dhaka Metro. May I also once again extend a very warm welcome to Mr. Nalinaksha S. Vyas, former Chairman, Technology Missions for Indian Railways, Government of India. And of course, moderating this session will be Mr. Harsh Dhingra, Management Consultant, Rail and Metro, former Chief Country Representative, Bombardier Transportation India. May I request all of you to please put your hands together as I extend a very warm welcome to each of our speakers right here. And as we look forward to a very, very engaging and interactive panel discussion. We have experts and veterans, ladies and gentlemen. So let's take the moment and welcome them with warm applauses yet again.
Well, it's my privilege to moderate this session with the stalwarts from the rail industry. In fact, if I see all of them, they all have experience of almost 30, 40 years plus. And who else can be the better person to address this particular theme of high speed and the metros than these four gentlemen who are sitting with me. Since we are going to capture two major elements of high speed and metros in this particular session of 40 minutes, including certain policy issues related to infrastructure, I would like to first start with the high speed segment, because that is something we have been hearing for the last 1 or 2 months when we are talking about the Vande Bharat train in India. Now, I will just give you some perspective of what's happening on the high speed in India. When we are seeing today that India high speed is generally called as Shatabdis or Rajdhanis, which are running at a maximum speed of 120 kmph or average speed of about 80 to 90 kmph, as compared to what internationally people call high speed as 300 kilometers plus in China and other European countries. So there is a vast difference of the definition of high speed. So what we call is a conventional speed, or what I call as a mini high speed in India, is this 120 kmph maximum speed which is achieved on this A route network of Indian Railways, which is around 8,000 kilometers. And especially when I mention that, I also would like to say that only 160 kilometers or 150 kilometers of this network is suitable to run on 160 kilometers per hour, and balance all network in Indian Railways, which is over 70,000 kilometers, out of which only A routes are about 8,000 kilometers. We have a running speed of only maximum 120 to 130. So where are we as compared to international standards, where if I make a comparison, China is having a 40,000 kilometers of high speed, which is 320 kilometers per hour. We have a Spain which is having almost like 4,400 kilometers of high speed, again 320. Other European countries like Germany, France, UK, all having 2,000 plus kilometers of high speed network of 320 kilometers per hour. We are still at 120 kilometers per hour. Having said that, but government has an ambitious plan. Two of the plans which have been infused is that introduction of 400 trains of 160 kilometers per hour in next 7 years on the Indian Railway network, which also requires certain kind of modification, which is required, so upgradation of the existing network, where Delhi, Mumbai and Delhi, Howrah sector has to be upgraded to 160 kilometers in next 5 years' time. So if that is the way we are going, and also we are thinking of introducing a high speed of Mumbai-Ahmedabad, which is again 300 kilometers, and we all know it is already delayed. Now the next expected date is somewhere around 2028. Where are we as compared to international standards of reaching a high speed in the coming days? So now I would like to bring my friend Mr. Raghu for discussion here, that what are the challenges he sees on the existing network when we want to convert the existing network from 120 maximum to 160, and also adding on that, are we ready for going 160 kilometers per hour beyond on the existing network, or should we go for a dedicated new network for 160 kilometers per hour plus speed on the rolling stock? Mr. Raghu.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon to all. as regard high speed is concerned or whatever speed is concerned. So the person looks the high speed or low speed depending on how near he is. So if you are standing very near to some moving object, you find it is going at a very high speed. But if you make a distance from this, say 1 kilometer or 2, like aeroplane is going in a very high speed from your head, but you don't feel that high speed. So that high speed is basically a concept which, if you talk in technical terms, it is treated as more than 300 kilometer. If you are more than 300 kilometer per hour, then it is a high speed. Otherwise, other things, whatever you are speaking in India as a high speed or semi-high speed, you have coined a new term as a semi-high speed. Because you could not achieve the high speed, so we are saying semi-high speed. The main constraint of Indian Railway is basically the huge network. We are having 64,000 kilometers of route kilometer, and which is going to increase every year, and now we have reached about say 68,000 kilometers. So if every person is looking for the high speed, it can be introduced in the existing system. So that is not actually feasible economically as well as feasible physically, because our system, which was designed by the British people, it is still continuing, and we are doing only the incremental changes into it. And when you are having a running system, it is very difficult to stop that system and then do the modification. So we did about 3 studies in yesteryears. First study was done by MATI, Japan. Then second study was done by SNCF. Then third study was done by your Russian Railway. And we have given a particular section in which they have to study that. So first section was given from Delhi to Mumbai and Delhi Howrah. So in that section, whatever study they did, and they come up with the solution, that first thing which they told that your locomotives, halt train will not run at that speed at which you are looking for at economic rate. So MATI has suggested that we should have a distributed power system. Then SNCF came with a locomotive halt and double locomotive halt. One is at the front and one at the back. Then again Russian Railway came with a solution which was totally different, and it was something like a distributed power, but it was not exactly distributed power, but having 2-3 powers car in between. So basic constant in our all the study whatever been done is seen that the bridges which we are having, which are very old and made though very sturdy, and our rules and regulation and bridges rules are like that, they do not permit on those bridges the higher speeds. And high speed, if you want to really achieve that, at least you should have the stations distance at least 200 to 300 kilometer away, every station. Whereas we want that our high speed train, if it start from Mumbai, and if it is going up to Ahmedabad, it should stop at 13 stations. So if you are stopping at 13 stations, you may be achieving the high speed of 300 kmph in a particular section, but overall average speed will come less. Everyone wants that the high speed should come from my hometown or my constituency. So that is the basic difference. Therefore, the Indian Railway has taken the decision that whatever high speed system we are going to introduce in other than the Indian Railway system will be a greenfield project, and it will be funded by the state and the private players. So 3 such projects, SPVs, has been constructed, in which the first SPV is from Nasik to Pune, and second SPV is from Surat to Ahmedabad, and third SPV is from Kozhikode to Trivandrum. So these state governments are also going to fund them, but we have to see whether really we want that kind of high speed. So if we are looking for high speed, then we should have the customers for that. So whatever DPR we are making, that DPR is projecting some of the customers, so many customers will be there, but it is going to be costlier than the aeroplane at present, because the number of customers are less. But if you see the environmental aspect of it, then the high-speed railway supports the total environmental aspect. And if you do the environmental cost analysis, then instead of having your air transport, you would like to go to high speed. So as far as high speed is concerned, first high speed we are going to have only between Mumbai and Ahmedabad, and whatever high speed we are having like Vande Bharat, so and so, our rolling stock as well as the locomotives, they are fit to run at 200 kmph, but the constraints are the curves and the bridges. So if we are going to strengthen the major bridges and the curves, then it is going to have a more cost, and all the three studies says that whenever you are going to go for a higher speed, then you should have a green corridor. Thank you.
So, Mr. Raghu, basically you have questioned the commercial viability of going for 300 km per hour high-speed network today. Now, you also mentioned about the existing lines where there is a possibility of increasing the speed up to 160, but there are challenges related to civil and signaling which has to be addressed, and your estimate is that the cost of upgrading that will be also going to be high. Now Delhi, Mumbai and Delhi, Calcutta, the two lines which have been identified to convert to 160 kmph. What is your expected time frame that within which this can be done?
Basically, we have taken four routes which were to be made semi-high speed, say 160 kmph or so. The current speed is 130 kmph. From raising it 130 kmph to 160 kmph in some of the section of that route, and to reduce the travel time at least by 3 to 4 hours. So as far as Delhi and Bombay is concerned, that is the target time is given as June 25. And most of the work has been completed except some ghat section in which some work is to be done over the track as well as on the OHEs. And the second one is this New Delhi Howrah route. The target is again the June 25, and as far as Delhi Howrah route is concerned, it is running behind the schedule, but we are sure that we will catch it up, and because some pandemic came in between, so our work was held up. But now we are picking up the speed, and we are quite sure that by June 25, these two routes will be made fit for 160 kmph. Thank you.
So, Mr. Raghu, as a railway commuter, we can see that in the next 4-5 years' time, we can at least 30 to 40% improvement in the speed on the existing at least 4 segments which you have identified. That is something which is feasible today based on the implementation plan of railways, right?
Yeah.
Okay, now I'll just like to bring Mr. Vyas into picture, because majority of this rolling stocks or manufacturing is done by IR in their own factories, whether it is locomotives, trains, coaches, and now Vande Bharat trains. Now there is an adoption of Industry 4.0 which has been introduced by railways in their manufacturing units. Would you like to elaborate on what kind of steps which have been taken by Indian Railways to introduce this 4.0?
Let me first of all make a few statements about myself. I don't belong to the railways, so there are many ills along with the positives that plague Indian Railways. So I have some safe distance from the Indian Railways because I am a professor at IIT Kanpur, and I happen to be the chairman of the technology mission for about 8 to 10 years of Indian Railways. Before I come to addressing this Industry 4.0 question, which has been my domain of work also of late, about high speed, let us first be very frank about our understanding of where we stand in India. If you read the CAG report of April 2022, which is just not even 6 months old, and some of you would have already gone through it. Out of the 3,000 odd express trains that we have in the country, not the total number of trains, which may be about 10,000. The 3,000 odd express trains that we have in the country, the average speed is 68 point some kilometers. There are 21 trains which have an average speed touching 85 kilometers an hour. And very few, if at all, which surpass 90 kilometers an hour. The fastest of them being the Shatabdi between Delhi and Gwalior. This is where we stand. And it pains us a lot when you travel from Beijing to Shanghai, 1200 kilometers in 4 hours flat. So the question is not whether India as a country requires high speed or not. India as a country can definitely do much better than the 68.5 kilometers per hour that we are currently pitched at. With 68.5 kilometers per hour of passenger trains, the average speed of freight trains, which is more important than the passenger trains, has gone down from 25 point something kilometers per hour in 2012-13 to 23 kilometers per hour in 2021-22. So the situation about speed in Indian Railways is really very stark. The government as well as the industry have to sit down together and address this question. Why is it that despite all the good intentions, it is not as if the intentions are not good, why is it that simple projects, as Mr. Avnish Awasthi said in the morning, why is it that the approval of the projects itself gets delayed by several years? Then the implementation of the projects gets delayed by several years. There are several problems in the approval stage as well as the implementation stage. How can those bottlenecks be removed as a country? Those things should be thought of from both the government side as well as the consortium of industry. They have to put their heads together and address this question. हम लोग सच में बैलगाड़ी की रफ्तार से चल रहे हैं. If we are not transporting goods at the rate that they are required to be transported, what is that brilliant economy that we are talking about? Industry 4.0 platforms, the kind of platforms that have been described by Schneider Electric in the morning and IBM just a little while ago, they will all be good and effective if we increase our efficiency in terms of speed, if we increase our efficiency in terms of the time that the train is unnecessarily stopping at the platforms, if we increase our efficiency in the turnaround time. And these are not things which are very difficult to do. Asset management of tracks, asset management of bridges, asset management of the rolling stock is something that countries, even third world countries, have been doing by adaptation and working in a collaborative manner. That collaboration somehow is not happening in India. That is my submission to the Indian Railways, that collaboration should be made possible. And faster implementation, faster approval of projects, faster implementation, and putting down heads together like Mr. Avnish Awasthi has done. He is a very shining example of how projects have been completed at such a fast pace. As far as Industry 4.0 is concerned, this is, in terms of technology, this is something whose days has come. We have several platforms in the country from, we have platforms from Siemens, we have platforms from Schneider Electric, IBM has a platform, Dassault Systems has a platform. We have our own indigenous systems also. The whole idea is to connect the operational technology with the information technology. Building a bridge between operational technology, like the physical assets, to the cyber system. It's a bridge between physical system and cyber systems. Anything related to the computers and anything related to the physical world through sensorization, through algorithms, through deep learning, through data, and so on and so forth. So here, whether it's manufacturing, whether it's asset management, we do have platforms. Whether we like it or not, it is going to come to India. It is up to the railways to decide what role are they going to play in building this digital infrastructure for the country. And there, all these platforms that we have require population with data from the Indian railways, if they have to be effective. All these platforms are good. My own platform is very good. But it will require data, information, design specifications from the Indian systems, whether it is bridges, platforms, rolling stock, tracks, and bridges, signaling system. It will require data which is available or either can be collected. It requires that data to be populated for these platforms to get validated in the first place, and then these platforms to be useful for increasing the efficiency of the entire system. This is one way of improving the efficiency of railway systems. Despite the laggard characteristics that we see presently, IT and data management can go a long way and contribute a lot towards improving this efficiency. This is my submission.
Thank you, Mr. You mentioned about these speeds. I think one of the solution, and that is not the only solution, but one of the solution is the dedicated freight corridors, which we have seen that the freight now is moving at the speed of 70 to 80 kilometers per hour. And we also have a dedicated passenger corridor, which is being now under implementation by NCRTC, where you have the maximum speed of 160 kmph. These two dedicated network will create that kind of a speed expectation that we have. But putting a dedicated structure means a huge infrastructure cost that we have to bear. So this is something we have to see. Whether we go for 350 kilometers per hour today, 10 years, 20 years down the line, that is something which government has to take a call. But today, improving the speed on the existing network and how at least we can come to 160 kilometers per hour and reduce the commuter time by 30 to 40% should be the first attempt of the government of India. So with this now, I just would like to touch on the metros. In the morning, ITP, they have mentioned about the metro network, almost 600 to 700 kilometers running, 700 kilometers under construction, other about 600 to 700 kilometers are under DPR stage. What we have found is that of late, except Delhi Metro Phase 1 and 2, which was executed and implemented well in time, subsequent phases of Delhi Metro as well as the other metros, whether it is Bangalore, Mumbai, Calcutta, we have seen a lot of delays which is happening on the metro execution and the implementation. So I would like now to bring Satishji on discussion here, that what are his views on the execution delays which are happening on the metro sector, especially when we know that almost 70 to 100 kilometers of new metro lines have to be laid every year in the next 10 years' time. Satishji.
Good afternoon to everybody, and especially to ITP, who practically forced me yesterday to come today. But before I touch upon this, that I happened and I had the opportunity of being a part of Delhi Metro for Phase 1, Phase 2, and part of Phase 3, and also of Bangalore Metro and Chennai Metro when they will set up. I was in metro system from 1998 to 2013 actively, then as advisor to Hyderabad Metro, to Kochi Metro, to Kanpur Metro and others, and now to Dhaka Metro. I will take you back to 1998, 1999, before I answer and this question and make it wise. Delhi Metro had engaged international consultants. A mission was set up that we should be world class, we should be commuter friendly, we should not have failures at all, the system should be reliable and very punctual, safe, and self-sustaining. These are conflicting requirements. How can this be achieved? That time, Indian Railways had the experience of only suburban railways, or Indian Railways where locomotive or track or power supply will fail and the punctuality will be lost. Now, most of the metros have been running at a punctuality of 99.9%. When the punctuality is being measured from start to end at a delay of 1 minute. I'm giving all this background how it happened, which means the system should be reliable. If track, signaling, rolling stock and power supply are reliable and failures don't occur, the train will be safe, punctual, safe, reliable. So these were ingredients built, that who are capable of doing this? Whether it's civil construction or rolling stock or others, the suppliers are the best. And for any construction work in civil, in a city, you have to give a right of way. It should be free from building diversion. It should be free from other things. The contractors are not good in getting sanctions from the local government and delaying that. And local governments do not have a binding on that. So the principle was that this job should be taken up by metro organization. Utility diversion and giving right of way and making available the place for contractors without affecting the public should be done by Delhi Metro. And these clauses were built in the contract. Contractors are very good in design and implementation and arranging material. That is their job. The system was set up that water line diversion, sewer diversion is the job of the MCD and they will be doing it. And they were told that if this is not done by this time, we have to pay penalty. And that penalty will come in. They refused. And at a higher setup, it came up that you do your job. Delhi Metro may do it. Their diversions, they will supervise and take that percentage supervision on. So similarly happened to the electricity lines, and that job was entrusted to Delhi Metro, not to the contractor. And Delhi Metro got it done. Which means the contractor got a green field for work, and where he was right of way was where the first section we started was Shadra Isbari. It had a certain place for movement. The roads were widened more than what the space was taken for work and barricaded. So there was no disturbance to the existing traffic. Utility diversions were taken up and the contractors were given the job and they did it. The expertise in last 10, 15 years have got built up with the contractor. They are so good, they can do less than that. And then they got one more incentive, that cash payment will be given on completion of a particular milestone, even without checking the bills. 80% will be given, but if detailed bill checking is wrong, you will be next time penalized. Now, if I, as a contractor, I can do the work fast and can do it before time, cash flow improves and rollover comes up. It means you get additional money in a way. And this system has got established in India now. Whether it's in Bangalore or Chennai, or contractors are capable more than what they require, and it can be done. Now, what has happened? What the impression is that phase 3, no, phase 3 is not delayed. If you look into this, phase 1 was 65 kilometers, done in 7 years, against the target of 10 years. Phase 2 of 124 kilometers, target 5 years. From 7 years to 5 years, double the work. It was done. It happened because of linkage. Phase 3, 160 kilometers. Again, 60, 120, 180, 160 is coming up. And done in 6, 7 years. So it is not delayed in a way. Our perception is slightly different. Now, but yes, it could have been done faster. What has happened? Contractors are capable. And some works can be re-tendered. Why? Because of unsolved, unpayable, or surprises. What are the surprises? What has come? Pockets of land are not available. Earlier, phase 1, phase 2, everybody cooperated so well, whether the central government or the state government or the judiciary. Then let the work go on and this thing can be settled later on. Then some changes in law. And land is not available. So pocket of land is not available. The contractor who was supposed to finish the work in 2 years has not given the site. So that portion is re-tendered. I was witness for phase 3 for a part of 2 years. Later on, what I am now talking is because of my discussions with my junior colleagues. Tree cutting permission gets delayed. So the contractor is helpless. I live in near Outer Ring Road in a place called, and so the work from Vikaspuri to Piragadi was awarded 3 years ago. It has now been re-tendered. Contractor has raised his hand. I can't do it because we are not given the site and tree cutting permission. Place having 4-story buildings is called a forest area. So the few trees coming up are in forest area. And now it has got cleared from the Supreme Court. So these are the unsolved. Going to the Jama Masjid side, a monument comes up, which was not visible, and the work has to be stopped. The clearances are there. 220 kV lines, the Delhi was set up sometime 50 years ago. After that, lot of buildings came up, and you do soil investigation up to 1 or 2 meters. Pile goes for 10 meters, and they found near Piragadi 220 kV line is there at 5 meters below. The work has to be stopped. So certain things, surprises have caused. India has a capability now, doing faster. If you work from that point of view, even phase 3 would be faster than that. Bangalore Metro, Chennai Metro. The new metro system is being set up. So, if India has to go for fast work, then utility diversion, land availability can be given. If given to the contractors, I'm sure they will do faster than phase 1 and phase 2. Let me come back. So, there are other things unsurmountable which have causing this one. Now, you're talking of 70, 80 kilometers. India is capable of doing 200 kilometers. We are at 810 today. And India is number 4 in the world now. Number 1, USA. Number 1, China now. Number 2, USA. Number 3, other countries, and Japan. Japan has 840 kilometers. Soon India will be having 2,000 kilometers. And that 840 kilometers have been done over 50 years. And these 810 kilometers have come up in India in 20 years. Similarly in USA. So now the Indian contractors and Indian systems can look for, practically they should be everywhere in the world. That is the capability coming up. India needs much more, but anyhow, that is slightly different. I'll get into other issues. And today you have designs of 700 stations available of different types, of different soil conditions. Bangalore, granite. You have done that underground work in granite. Kochi, near the sea. Chennai, near the sea. Bombay, in the sea. And Indian capability has come up to the extent the pile in Kochi, I am witness to that, is 10 meters above and 55 meters below. Who has seen the site investigation of 55 meters? This has been done and stations have been built. Now, if these 700 stations are codified by the government of India, those designs are codified, if manuals can come up, certain things can come up, which can be used cut and paste. So that is the capability India will be having.
Thank you. Thank you, Satish. A big lot of applause for Satish ji. With the passion with which he has explained how Delhi Metro was able to achieve phase 1 and phase 2, and also the challenges there. Now I will just bring down the question to Anirudh ji, because he has mentioned about the capabilities which are developed by metros in India. Why metro organizations in India are not going internationally to implement and execute the projects? That is the first side. And the second point I just want to ask is whether Delhi Metro, where you are associated, is also like to bring in the private players, because NCRTC has brought the operation and maintenance to a private player. What are the thoughts of organization like Delhi Metro to bring private players to operate and maintain the system? Anuj ji.
Thank you, Mr. Harsh. If you permit, first 2 minutes I will take about speeds on railways. For last 5 years I am with DMRC, but before that 36 years I was associated with.
We would like to see that views, yes, sir.
So, speed, definitely speed has to be there, but if it is more than 200 kmph, dedicated high-speed corridors are required, which my friend Raghu has already spoken. Ahmedabad, Mumbai is already work in progress. And on the existing network, there are certain constraints. Firstly, the network is saturated. Maintenance corridors have to be there. Maintenance corridor, I mean maintenance of fixed assets. Some time is required, that is not available. Then we have got mixed traffic. A train is running at 50 kmph on the same system. We want to run another train at 150 kmph. So the first train has to give way to the train behind. That kills the line capacity. Then there are levee crossings. Then there are trespassing, cattle runovers. Recently, this Vande Bharat was in news for 2 cattle runover cases. And then there is vandalism, theft cases. Whatever equipment is by the side of the track, thefts cannot be prevented. So there are so many problems. And average speed and peak speed are two different things. if our goods trains are averaging say 25 kmph, then our peak speed for goods is 100 kmph, and it is 100 kmph for more than 25 years now. And there is an optimum speed for goods, and internationally the optimum speed is 80 kmph. That is the from energy point of view. So for goods, we are ready as soon as our dedicated freight corridors are commissioned. They have been designed for 100 kmph, and I think we will be running at 80 to 100 kmph, and that will release capacity on the existing network. And the low speed trains will move away, goods trains are low speed trains. Then in general the speeds on the main network will go up. Even at present the peak speed is 150 kmph. I think Vande Bharat is introduced with 160 kmph, and 150 kmph train was introduced on Indian Railways, I think sometime in 2005 or 2006. Since then it is successfully running on Delhi, Agra, Bhopal network, and I hope more such corridors will be identified and the speeds will be raised. So dedicated freight corridor and dedicated high-speed corridors are the way out. Once these are commissioned and our real high-speed traffic moves to that, then the existing network will also improve and average speeds on existing network will also go up. Thanks. Sorry, can you repeat the question?
Okay, good that you have also highlighted about the high speed. I was talking about the metros, Indian metro system going abroad internationally to execute the projects, implement, and then also operate it. That was a question I was seeking from you.
I think we are already into Bangladesh. Mr. Satish, our friend, senior friend, he is already working on that, and we are trying to get some projects abroad. At present, Delhi Metro has helped lot of Indian metros to grow, to come up. Noida Metro is there, Mumbai Metro we are working, Kochi Metro has been executed by DMRC, Jaipur Metro also we have done a lot of work. And we are very hopeful that in a year or two we will get one or two more foreign projects. Our Director of Business Development is hardly is concentrating on this, and Mr. Satish can...
I will just add it, supplement it. If you look at the world, USA will not give you a job for this work. They will like to employ their person. Europe, expansion of metro is not going to come up, not much. They are already saturated over the last 200 years, only replacements. So the countries, it will be Southeast Asia or the Gulf countries, which will go for metros. And these are the places where China will now go forward with loan. And they will capture that. So India, because India can be cheaper and India can now enter the Gulf countries and the Southeast Asian countries. Bangladesh, line number 6 already, line number 5 has been given, line number 1 has been given, and Delhi Metro will be participating in a bigger way. So these are the places we have to look, plus within the country, and make it cheaper. A question, I just side-tracking and giving you something, what have been saying. Now you are talking of NCRTC. I'm just commenting this is 180 kilometer higher speed, 160 will be average, 82 kilometers and 21 stations. Every 4 kilometers you have to stop. Now in metro, maximum speed is 80. You stop every 1 kilometer for 30 seconds, but in a main line you have to stop with the luggage and all that for more than 2 minutes. So you really work out, if you have to stop every 6 kilometers, where will be speed, average speed? So the requirement is, one has to look that if I have to go from Delhi to Muradnagar, what is the traffic level? I will have only 2 stops, Delhi, Muradnagar, Meerut. Or I have 1 stop, Delhi to Meerut. Yes, speed will be achievable. So we have to go for a system which has to work for and make it energy efficient.
Right. I will just like to now talk about certainly like infrastructure funding here, because in the morning a question.
Before that,
Yeah, you want to say
just
something?
I want to share, you have shared this one, that why not privatization?
I was trying to say whether privatization is possible in Delhi.
Why not privatization? I don't know how many of us have read even the metro rail policy. Metro rail policy 2017 defines 5-6 ways of private participation. And NCRTC has picked up one way. They have picked up, and morning the question was being raised, how do you improve the quality and safety of the system? It has to be built in. And NCRTC, when I was discussing with them, I was very happy to note that they have given rolling stock to Alstom with 10 years maintenance. No, and the previous practice of Indian Railways or Delhi Metro was, you will stock capital spares for 10 years. Stock these things for maintenance. And the cost of that, which is blocked, and the interest on that, which is blocked, is much more. But if you are giving to the employer or the manufacturer rolling stock, supply and maintain for 10 years, first 3-4 years, nothing is required except cleaning. And the equipment you are using, they have to be reliable. If they are built properly, practically for 7-8 years, nothing will be required except checking and inspecting. So the cost comes down, the responsibility remains, and if I am the manufacturer, I'll build any quality that I have not attended for 10 years. It is possible. Technology today is such, what is required is now is sensors, more sensors. Sense, attend to the equipment on need basis and not on routine basis. What we have been doing so far in Indian Railways or elsewhere is routine. This is after 2 years, 1 year you do this, after 2 years you do this, after 3 years you open it. What do you need to open if it is working properly? How Delhi Metro achieved it, I'm telling you now, for 15 years nothing has been done except this one, was if a traction motor which has to drive for conditions require 100 kilowatt, we had put for 120 kilowatt. Similarly, transformer, stainless steel sealed, electronic sealed, nothing is required, only cleaning outside. Brake system, all stainless steel, 120, no joints. What is going to fail then? Yes, tire turning will be there. It is running. So you can, today technology gives you can build that, you can put sensors, and you can monitor the health of each equipment, what is the wear, whether I need to open or not. I was advisor to this Kochi Metro. I have given advice now, the rolling stock of Alstom, which they are saying 3.5, you have an IUH of 3.5 years. Man, no, you go watch running. Now we will be doing after 5 years. So what we need to take usage of modern technology and put sensors. This small phone has 50 sensors. And today, the sensors in rolling stock are regulating the air conditioning requirement. And now Indian Railways is going to adopt that. Why do we need that? So let us make use of technology and reduce the unnecessary maintenance and become simple. Second thing what they've done today, NCRD has given this. What are you combining? You are combining that equipment I am giving you of this level. The challenge will be to control the energy. If I am in private, I'll meet all the KPIs of meeting is and run the train without costing. How do you keep a check on that? These are the challenges. so that energy efficiency also remains. Today, and small metros cannot afford regular employees and give them a promotions. So, equipment where the principle should be, wherever it can be measured, it can be outsourced. Where you can't measure it, don't outsource it. Say, routine maintenance, I know it will take only 1 hour or 2 hours. You can outsource, this is manpower. Whereas in your system, you have to give a regular scale, promotions and all that. There he has to give the minimum wage plus. Here is saving. Contractually he can tackle which you can't, which the government can't tackle. So, if there's some corrective maintenance is required, yes, it should be outsourced after examining it. But wherever you can measure any quantity, outsource it. It will be economical, it will be reliable.
Thank you, Satish. I think now I will open the panel for check questions from the audience. Any audience which has a question, anybody from the audience, if you have a question addressed to anybody, please raise it.
I am R.J. Sharma, General Manager, Consultancy Services of Delhi Metro. My question is to Mr. Raghu. As he said that high-speed rail projects are economical viable, but financially are not viable. And same time, air travel will be cheaper than a high-speed travel. Then who will travel in your high-speed trains? And how a project which are not financially viable will function?
Just before I answer exactly to that question what you have raised, that if the project is not financially viable, why we should go for it? Is it your question?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it is basically the philosophy with which we live the life. The younger generation requires higher speeds. And the generation which is more than 50, they are okay with the existing speed. If your son will come to you to buy a car, he will not permit you to buy a car which is less than 200 kmph. Okay, so some of the ornaments we have to have. But if you consider the air travel and the railway travel, then railway travel is more economical than the air travel for the same distance and at the similar speeds. So if you, even why the high speed has come at all? If you are having the air travel, you could have gone by the air itself. So the high speed trains are available because they are not only economical, fuel economical than the air travel, but they are also environment friendly. In the second half, I will be giving one presentation only on that, why we should go for the project which may not be looking financially viable to you at present, and how it can be made financially viable. What are the various aspects you have to see so that the project becomes viable? The moment we connect it with your health or with the environment, then you will accept, yes, it's okay. Instead of going by the other modes, by road or so and so, we have to follow the railways, because railway is the most economical mode of transport at whatever speed you say. Then we are also going for the hyperloops. So why we are going for the hyperloops? Because the transportation basically not required in passenger segment to that speed, but certainly you want your goods to travel at higher speed. So the recent report which has been submitted to Railway Board about the hyperloop is supporting the freight transportation with the help of hyperloop, so that we can send the goods at a higher speed. So it totally depends upon the philosophy at what you are living. Some of the ornament we have to have, or we are having, and some of the things we have to see in globally. Then we say full Indian Railway, then we have to achieve the speed which is okay for you, which is basically fuel economic as well as the environment friendly. Thank you.
So I'll just add one line to this. No metro is financially justifiable. We have gone for that because they are economically justifiable. So same thing, thought for this, is high speed economically justifiable? Does it rate today from Delhi to Hardwar to take 7 hours? If I can take 1.5 hours, distance is 230 kilometers. Why should I live in Delhi? Why not near Rishikesh? And come in the morning, go back in the evening. And what infrastructure can come up? So if we can look, the country has to prosper, economics is the way out.
See, this is what.
And let me tell you this. Now, I have been witness to this. Metro was not just financially viable, Delhi Metro. Nobody sanctioned it. And the person who sanctioned, the Prime Minister Devi Gowda, he asked one question: what is the way, alternative with you? Everybody comment. If there is no alternative, it is financially not justifiable, but required for the public sanction, which was taking roots for so much time.
Any further question from the audience?
Recently, we had mishaps with Vande Bharat, our high-speed trains, or so-called semi-high-speed trains. What are the additional safety features which will be now taken care of so that such incidents do not happen in future? And second question is for Delhi Metro. I think it's, I don't know whether it's a weird question, but can we have a Delhi Metro where it can run in like Bombay, locals? So from Delhi to Noida, there are 45 stations in between and it takes more than 1.5 hours. Can we have a metro like that? If they stop at alternate stations and at junction every train will stop, and instead of the train starting after every 3 minutes, it can start after every 10 minutes, and still there is a saving of time for the commuters.
Regarding the Vande Bharat Express, which is known as, commonly known as Train 18. Train 18 is at 160 kmph. It has already been tested and found it is very safe. But if you are talking about the recent incidents in which the cattle collides with the train, that we have to take care, and it is suggested by all the studies which we have already done, when you are going for more than 130 kmph. So the amount of impact which is coming on you, even if you see the aeroplane, if they initially when they were launched and the birds used to strike with them, so the full aeroplane got damaged. In the same way, as you increase the speed, you will get some problem as far as the safety is concerned by colliding it. But otherwise, the rolling stock itself is totally safe, and it is safe up to 200 kmph. We have already tried at 180 kmph, but it is totally safe up to 200 kmph as per the design is there. So, regarding the rolling stock is concerned, it is totally safe, but we have to see the other kind of safety. So, people have suggested that it is to be fenced. Either it is to be fenced or we should have the control over the cattle, because normally human beings does not strike except in Bombay. In Bombay, even if you put the rail crossing barrier, people try to cross it, and every day यहाँ तो इसको cattle runover बोलते हैं CRO, बॉम्बे में बोलते हैं MRO, man runover. A man runover के केस बॉम्बे में daily if you see, there are 25 to 30 cases daily, and if you really see the figures, they are looking for something that we should not do anything on the surface where the railways are crossing. So now the policy has been made, whereas when railway crossing is there, either it should be underground or it has to be above the ground. So either overbridge or underbridge. So that is what is required.
Second part I would like to answer. See, metro trains are running at a peak speed of 75 to 80 kmph and averaging a speed of 35 kmph because they are stopping at every station. So So if one train has to skip 3-4 stations, it will kill the train ahead, because it has to run through at 75 kmph through those stations. So the train which was already at the next station, where it will go. So a separate corridor is required. I will give an example. Mumbai suburban rail system. There is a slow corridor and there is a fast corridor. Fast corridor skips 3-4 stations, 2 lines are there, and slow corridor stops at every station. All trains stopping at every station. Churchgate to Andheri, 21 kilometers. A fast train takes 25 minutes and a slow train takes 45 minutes. So perhaps I am answering your question that if we introduce a faster train on the existing corridor, it will kill 3-4 trains, and where the people will travel. If those 3-4 trains in a peak hour, if we remove those 3-4 trains, then this fast train will be jam-packed. There will be no room for anybody to board the train. So it is just not feasible.